Well, happy Wednesday night and welcome to A Look on the Plus Side. This is the show where we go into Disney Plus or maybe Hulu Plus. We review a show or a movie, and tonight we're going to be talking about Tangled for its 15th anniversary. Hard to believe it's been 15 years. Hey, if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel. It's called the Park Adventures Club. We have a lot of content, a lot of fun, a lot of great people here. So please give us that subscription. It's free. And then also give us a like as it helps people to find us. And tonight, us is, it's me, and it's this lady right here. It's Stephanie. What's going on?
It's the best day ever, Rob. I'm so happy to be here.
Are you going to do the mood swing thing where you're like, oh my gosh, it's so great. And you're like, I shouldn't have come here tonight. And then you're going to be like, this is so fun. And then you're like, let's not do that. Let's just ride that high the whole way, Stephanie. It'll be great. So tonight we're going to be talking about Disney's Tangled, which is, I love Tangled. This is one of my favorite movies, but I don't know that it stands out as one of the ones that most people think of when they think of full-length animated features. I think, especially in the princess genre, people think of Snow White as the original, and Sleeping Beauty, and Ariel, and Belle, and so I don't know that they throw Rapunzel in that group because it's a more modern princess. But how do you feel about her as a princess in general, and who is your favorite princess? I feel like I remember, but I'll refresh our memories.
I tell you, Sleeping Beauty or Princess Aurora is my all-time favorite. I just absolutely love that film. But this is a close second. I will tell you that this is one of the best films that Disney has done in modern history, I would say, honestly. And no shot, shade on Princess Tiana or anything, because that was also a good film. But this one kind of opened up a new era because it was before Frozen. It was the first different animation style, and Rapunzel is I think she's a great role model princess for what she's been through. So we'll get into that, I'm sure, with as we get into the story. But I do think that this is a fantastic film. It's expertly done. The writing is the banter between Flynn and Rapunzel is wonderful, and it's an all around great film.
Okay, no, say more. I'm just kidding. So, I think we said it's underrated in the title, and I saw some people pop up earlier and go, you know what, if you want to talk underrated, Tiana, Princess and the Frog is underrated.
True.
They had gone through this thing where they tried some computer animation, and if you guys remember, like, it didn't really take for them. They were trying to hang with Pixar, and at that time, I don't think they owned Pixar, and they were going, okay, let's do Dinosaur, Chicken Little, Bolt, and Meet the Robinsons, all of which are like just
Love
kind of
Meet
lost
the
in.
Robinsons, though.
I love them too, but
I love that movie.
But they're all lost in obscurity in a way because we don't have theme, especially after Dinosaur goes away. We won't really have theme park attractions about them, or there's not a lot of meet and greet opportunities for these characters, and so I feel like they were on their way, to try that out. And then they took a turn. They were like, hey, we're going to do a return to hand-drawn animation. We've merged with Pixar. They've got the computer thing handled. Let's go do what we do best. And they came out with Princess and the Frog, and I don't think it had the reception that they wanted. And I think at this time, this movie was actually in development as a hand-drawn, and then they kind of turned the corner and go, well, let's get back and do it as computer-generated. So this is computer-generated. Then they only had Tiana and then that other Winnie the Pooh movie that came out in like 2011, I think, that became the hand-drawn, and then they were like, nope, we're going to pack it up and go back all computer. Not that it's a problem, because it's very well done, I think, as far as an animation goes on this one. Let's bring up, as we have been doing since we've been doing A Look on the Plus Side, let's bring up the stat board about this one, because I throw a lot of numbers out, and I like to have them all like laid out for you. So the runtime on this one, depending on where you Google it, is either an hour 40 minutes or an hour 45 minutes, but I think an hour 40 is about accurate. The release was November 24th, 2010. Like we said, we are nigh on the 15th anniversary, like nailing the 15th anniversary here. The rating was PG. The budget was $260 million. Sorry, it was $260 million. The box office was $592, and of course it was by Disney. The animated movies started getting out of control there as far as the budgets went. Yeah, kind of crazy for that one, but When was the first time you saw this? I assume you saw it like November 24th, 2010, right? You were in there the first time.
I no, I actually didn't.
What?
I couldn't even tell you when I saw it because I actually saw it when it came out on television. And I don't know how many months that is. Typically, is that like 6 or 8 months or something like that? But that's when I saw it because I had a newborn baby that I was at the house with, and it was my daughter's first Disney movie, and she doesn't remember it obviously because she was an infant, but I remember it, and that's I think part of the reason why I love it so much. And she also, as she's grown older, has gotten into, art and animation and stuff. So it kind of makes me think of Rapunzel.
Well, that's adorable, first of all. Secondly, I had to check my math here on this one. This is the 50th animated feature film from Disney, from Walt Disney Animation Studios. So that starts from Snow White. That includes the kind of the compilation movies like So Dear to My, I mean, Make My Music Fun and Fancy Free, Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. I used to love looking at those charts, and they kind of changed from time to time. Sometimes they included Victory Through Air Power on that one, which was like a propaganda war movie that they
Yes.
did that you cannot get your hands on. And this doesn't include movies that were kind of hybrids like Bedknobs, Mary Poppins, all of those. So full length animated features. This was the 50th. Now, originally, I remember there was rumor spinning around. This was before the internet existed. I was around. I know you probably weren't, but before the internet existed, there was always rumor that the 50th movie would be something that was like a combination of a whole bunch of things, and it was going to be called The Search for Mickey Mouse, and it was going to be like all of the characters from these 49 other movies coming together to try to find Mickey, I guess a la Force Awakens and Luke Skywalker. But that never happened. Again, if that was rumor or an actual thing, I'm not sure. It wasn't in the room where it happened, but that was a thing that I thought we were working towards. And then, of course, John Lasseter became the head of animation around this time, and I think was the one that was making the decisions about what does Toon Disney do, what does Disney Animation do, what does Pixar do. So anyway, we got this. One of the things that I always thought was interesting about this particular movie, it was they were trying to do they were trying to get movies that boys would also be interested in. They didn't want to just like you to write this off as a princess movie. And so the original name of it, and this is the actual logo, was Walt
Oh,
Disney Pictures Rapunzel.
and that makes
Uh,
sense, right? Because it kind of goes in with the other princesses. You had the Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, but they were the title. Cinderella, Snow White, they were the title. So the fact that they changed that is interesting to me. They changed it
mhm.
to Tangled to be more appealing to boys.
Right, and then increasing the character that was Flynn Rider as well, so
Right.
that it's kind of an adventure movie. But they didn't want to tag it as something that maybe boys and girls wouldn't want to get into. I think that was a problem with the company in general before they started like buying Marvel and buying Star Wars and all these other things, as they were kind of known as either little kids or princesses, and not really known for that. So the next one that came was Frozen, same thing, right? So they
Yes.
were. It's
Mhm.
not the Ice Queen, it's Frozen. Um, and they also took a lot of liberties with that story. Anyway,
Very
but
much.
then there was a movie that didn't get made that was supposed to be made that was going to be called Gigantic. Do you remember that there were rumors about that? It
Hmm.
was a Jack and the Beanstalk movie. It was
I
they
do.
they had already had it in development. They announced it at D23. The Anderson Lopez team was going to be working on the music for it, and then I think at some point it just wasn't getting any traction. And then Frozen 2 was getting more traction, so they moved them off that
Mm.
project. Sorry, moved them off that project to get back on to. I get very passionate about this movie because I wish it existed. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think that would have been a neat one to do, and they didn't. But it was that same thing. It's
Mhm.
Tangled, Frozen, Gigantic. It was all in that same realm. Let's talk about another thing that's interesting about this movie. Is it came out in 2010. In 2020, something happened. We all got like relegated to our individual ivory towers
Mhm.
during COVID, and the internet blew up with the fact that this is the kingdom of Corona.
Right.
And and the funny thing is I'm watching this and I'm seeing, as it first opens up and we get through, the Flynn's narration, and then we learn the story of of how there was this magical flower. I have a lot of flaws in that story, but the way it happened, there was this magical flower, and there was this old lady, and she found it, but then it was taken to save the queen and her baby, and the baby was born with those magical powers. So this horrible woman stole the baby and left with it, which is like that's extremely triggering for any parent.
Yes. Oh, 100%.
Yeah, so like the fact that we've already started off with this is really intense. Um,
Mhm.
but different than a lot of different Disney movies, we don't start off with killing a parent.
No, that's
Bambi,
true.
Lion King, in this case, it was just like she's stolen. But again, as with parents, and I know that my wife was always like this, especially when the kids were little, that was a very triggering thing to see in a
Mhm.
movie. Minority Report. Anyway,
Oh, yeah.
so yeah, so then she steals the baby, and then she raises it as her own, so she can keep this magical power that keeps her young.
Mhm.
And then title, and then like we're in the movie, and then it's her running around her tower doing things and realizing time's not passing fast enough, and she's doing all these things, and she's taking up all these hobbies. And I was like, that's that's COVID. Like that's exactly it. And she's might as well be ordering like harmonica lessons from Amazon or something. I don't know. It's just does that hit for you when you're watching this, or did you like
I've
nah?
never thought about the Amazon delivery guy climbing up her hair to leave her a box for her, 50th Stanley Cup or something like that. I don't know. I didn't think about the Corona connection there because Corona, as I've always known it to mean, means circle or ring. Like the corona around the sun means the ring, and so I just thought it was the kingdom of Corona because the sun was their mascot kind of thing. So I never thought about the coronavirus, unfortunately.
What do you mean?
But
Unfortunately,
I could see
that's not a
how
bad thing.
I can see how people would definitely identify with this character during that time. I know I did, homeschooling 4 kids and everything during that time. It was definitely a difficult time in life, but it was good. It was good too because everything did kind of slow down. You're absolutely right. Time felt like it was passing much differently than it does in your daily life when you're so busy and you're running around all the time. And you were definitely taking more time to be individual with your and intentional with your family.
Yeah, the whole thing just really just came home for me on this watching. I've seen this movie a bunch of times, but on
Hmm.
this watching, I was at just that scene. And again, this is like 6 minutes into the movie, where she's candle making and she's doing practicing ventriloquism, and she's brushing her hair, and she's doing like the all the cleaning, and then looks up the clock, it's only 15 minutes later, and then she gets
Right.
tired of the same old books, and she gets tired, and she's run out of space to paint and all that other
Hmm.
stuff. I feel like again it was so apropos for what we were dealing with in
Crazy.
2020 that again clearly it wasn't you, clearly it was me that was having this thought. But yeah.
I can see it.
Um, and then, like we said, they introduce. And by the way, as we are breaking this down, and we're going to talk about the movie, and then we're going to talk about the theme park kind of implications of it, and then of course what came after and what will come after this movie. So stick with us for that because I definitely want to talk about a lot of the theme park experiences, not only the ones that we've seen and had in this country, but also again, this is where Stephanie's given me full like permission to just flat out talk about
Go crazy.
Japan and Fantasy Springs and the Lantern Festival attraction they have there, which is
Hmm.
phenomenal. It was just
No.
so good. So I hope to see something like that come here. But there have been some experiences here that I want to talk about. But
Yeah.
let's talk about this fella for a second,
Oh,
Flynn
so
Rider.
good.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on
Yes.
Flynn Rider? Is it have
Pro-
you never
oh,
loved a Prince ish guy more than this?
again, my first love is going to be Sleeping Beauty, and love me some Prince Philip in that. But he does get a lot of help from the fairies in that movie. And in this film, you see growth. You see Flynn. He says at first he's like, "I'm not talking about backstory. I don't want to talk about my backstory." But then he does. He thinks his life is going to be ended very quickly, and he tells her, why he's this, tragic orphan story. And yeah, I think that you see growth in him. You see his maturity. You see him be very flirtatious, but also very funny, self-deprecating. He's a great character. He's an all-around great he's not a prince. You can't call him a prince until he and Rapunzel get married. But he is a great character, great uh, written for
Yeah.
her.
Benjamin in chat said he is the Han Solo of the movie. And
Yes.
I think I don't disagree. I think that's a great way to put it. But I think that in the same way, something that struck me in this watching is that this movie is not, and maybe that's part of the reason for calling it Tangled and not Rapunzel. It's not just Rapunzel's story. In a lot of those movies, like Sleeping Beauty, yeah, Prince, Philip has a part in it, but it's really about Sleeping Beauty the entire time, and he just happens to come by. Or the same thing with Prince Charming and Snow White is like he's not as involved as to the story. I don't think. I mean, obviously Prince Philip slays Maleficent, but he's not as involved in the story, I don't think, as Flynn is. And so for me, Flynn is also kind of on this redemption arc. So,
Yes.
so he's
Very
kind of
much
a
so.
bad guy, but we have a bad guy. Oh, you want me to be
Mhm.
the bad guy? I can be the bad guy, right?
Right.
Mother Gothel is
Now
we're gonna
I'm the
talk about
bad
her
guy.
next, but honestly, again, they're both on their own journeys. Her journey to the lanterns and to be free for the first time and experiencing all these things like a fish out of water, and for him realizing that he can be a better person, and
Mhm.
she makes him want to be a better person, and so for that
Yes.
there's just growth with him along the way that is just beautifully written. I think that is so
Mhm.
well done. I almost see, I don't like, and I'm watching this, and I will get into the cast in a second, but I see Flynn Rider in this. I don't see Zachary
Mhm.
Levi as, and I think sometimes, depending on the person doing the voice, sometimes it's like that person as an animated figure.
Yes.
This guy has his
Chris
own,
Rock. Yeah, like
yeah.
just
Or
think about
I was thinking Jerry Seinfeld when
Jerry
he did,
Seinfeld B
yeah.
movie. Yes,
Yep.
absolutely.
It's just Jerry Seinfeld's voice, and it's the same thing. And sometimes I think that about Brad Garrett, who's in this too, because his
Yeah.
voice is so unique, and it's always that
Mhm.
same deep, grizzled voice that he does, whether he's in, Finding Nemo or this or whatever. It's just, yeah. Anyway, so
But can we
love,
just say how good he did, Zachary Levi? Just phenomenal. The casting for this, Mandy Moore, and Mandy Moore, mind you, I kind of grew up with her. She kind of drives me nuts with her acting. Like Princess Diary, she was over the top. Okay, she kind of had to be in that part. A Walk to Remember, and these other movies, but a little bit overacting, I guess. I loved her in this film. I thought she was spot on. Every emotion came out fully in her voice, and Zachary Levi, they played so well together, and they sing beautifully. They harmonize wonderfully, and I think if anything, because they're talking about making a live action version of this film in the next year or so, I wish that they had done it 10 years ago, because these two should have played the live action version of these characters.
Yep, yep. We'll definitely talk about that. So, because we've already turned this corner, let's talk about the cast. So, Mandy Moore as Rapunzel, Zachary Levi as Flynn Rider. You listed off a bunch of Mandy Moore things. Just randomly tell me three things you know Zachary Levi from other than this.
Well, Chuck,
Right.
and then the fabulous Mrs. Maisel. Is that how do you say it? Marvelous Miss Maisel. Um, he played the doctor in that. And then what's the third one? I don't know a third
He
one.
was Shazam.
Just duh.
Yeah, I think he did awful in that one, by the way. I wish he had
Oh
not been
no.
Shazam, but like I love
Oh.
that character, and so
Mhm.
I mean he's okay. He's okay. He's
Yeah.
just not what I wanted out of that character. Donna Murphy as Mother Gothel just slays. She is just
Perfect.
perfect. And as a matter of fact, I don't know if you watch it because you are in the healthcare industry, but there is a TV show called Brilliant Minds with Zachary Quinto, who was Spock in
Mhm.
the Chris
Yeah.
Pine Star Trek movies, and Donna Murphy plays his mother in that one. And
Mhm.
I don't know that I like made the connection at first that was Mother Gothel, because most of the time I'm lost in these characters because the characters
Yeah.
are the characters. That's just Mother Gothel. And she just can kill at singing, but she's not another person. That's actually Mother
That's
Gothel.
just
Like
her.
for some reason, and some movies I just like I hear the voice and I just don't get it. But I think in this one,
Mhm.
and I think also in Frozen, like I
Yeah.
can forget that the actresses in that one. But this one, Donna Murphy as Mother Gothel is amazing. Ron Perlman is listed as Stabbington brother. Ron Perlman has a great voice. He's done like Hellboy and a whole bunch of other. He usually does voice work because he's got such a gruff voice to him. And then the Jeffrey Tambor, when you get to the like that rogues gallery from the Snuggly Duckling, Jeffrey Tambor, Paul F. Tompkins, Brad Garrett, Richard Kiel, who, by the way, was in a James Bond movie called Moonraker. I am on a new path to re-educate the world to James Bond. Because there's like 23 James Bond movies, 6 James Bonds. People need to know. The people need to know. Maybe I need to do another channel that's just all about James Bond movies. But anyway, Richard Kiel was in this one called Moonraker. He played a character named Jaws with these big metal teeth. This was his last movie before he died, which it's like, that's weird. I mean, weird timing, not weird. It just was weird timing. The directors of the movie played a couple of voices in it as well. But, again, I think that the main voices are really, Donna Murphy, Mandy Moore, and Zachary Levi. And Donna Murphy and Zachary Levi, I don't know as singers, but they crushed. And
They
Mandy Moore
did.
we knew as a singer first before we knew her as an actress. So,
Absolutely.
any other thoughts
Yes.
on the casting?
I think that Zachary Levi did such a good job because of his role in Chuck. I don't know about the Shazam like you're talking about, but I thought that he had great comedic timing in that TV series, and I think that is probably because there is just there are a couple of lines in this film like look, Goldie, there's a lot of blood in his, beard. Sir, that's a lot of blood, just the way that he says it, the way that he delivers that line is hilarious. And I can just see, and a lot of times, the animators will take what the actors or actresses are doing and they'll put it into the show, put it into their animation. And I can see a lot of, his mannerisms come through when Flynn.
Well, and as we were talking about voices and the animators taking over, Robin Williams, one of the greats of like the genie and rewriting and improvising and all that, and the animators are really learning more from him than he learned from them, following his lead on stuff like that. I think again, that's a great movie, and he's great in that role. But he is Robin Williams with with genie cartoon on front of him. I mean, but this one, it's like they
for
do
sure.
such a good job of getting him. So let's just acknowledge that, and I feel like this is probably the rule around your house. Mother knows best, right? I mean, is this?
Fun fact, I would not let my kids watch this scene because I do say that. I don't want them to associate this song. No, she is she's a spooky, good villain. And you talk about like villains nowadays. Okay, you got Cruella, the remake of Cruella, the live action, and talking about her tragic backstory. And this is why she acts this way and why she wants to kill puppies. I'm sorry, no, I'm sorry what your life was like before, but that doesn't mean you have to slay puppies, in order to get what you want. And same thing with her. Like, she is not the, oh, woe is me, look at me, I've lived such a terrible life and this is why I have to act this way. She is actually a true narcissistic, villain to her core that is manipulative and controlling, and you hate her from the very beginning because of what she does and steals Rapunzel out from underneath her parents. Fun fact, I saw this on a Disney YouTuber's channel, and this is a conspiracy theory, I guess, for Disney, that said that he opens this film. Flynn is, doing the narration, and he's saying that she lived for hundreds of years and because of this flower. So if you look at the end of Snow White, what happens in the end of Snow White, the wicked witch, the queen, she falls off the cliff and she's wearing this dark cloak. Well, so the theory goes that she actually falls off the cliff and that this is Mother Gothel in her old hag, and she finds this flower and becomes youthful again. And this is why she can live hundreds of years.
Yeah. I mean, maybe, sure. But I feel like she'd be looking in the mirror a lot more. But again, at this point, she's, yeah, I know, right? That's so funny that you. I was thinking about, you were saying how you skip over this scene, or you keep your kids from watching this scene. Is that I
Yeah.
used to do that with Elf when they had the scene where he's like explaining how Christmas works and how people feel about Santa
Oh,
Claus, and I was like,
yes.
pause it and go get your jammies on, and they would do that and then come back and I'd be past that part. I don't know, it's
Hmm.
just really funny. So
Strategic.
here's the thing. Yeah, it's just because because I'm a huge Santa fan. He's the best. I'm glad he's
Of course.
I'm glad he's out there and doing the work that he does, and I hate when he is
Okay.
besmirched.
True that.
So anyway, one of the things we talked about when we were talking about the Sleeping Beauty movie was
Hmm.
that I think it was a couple of the animators were saying how the movie was so beautifully done and every
Yes.
scene was taken into account, like every bit of it, that you could pause any scene in that movie and it would be a piece of artwork you could hang on your wall. I
Yes.
honestly feel like this one shares a lot of that. And
It's
again,
close,
this
isn't
was
it?
the scene I was showing you there. I would hang that on my wall.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
lighting, gorgeous. The reflection and her, the way her hair shimmers and everything. Yeah, they do
Yeah.
a great job.
Care Bear is in chat saying, I prefer the theory that Mother Gothel is actually Meg from Hercules, but that's a different tale
Oh,
for a different day. Um, but speaking of that, when we get to the live action, I do want to talk about Meg from Hercules. Anyway, so
mm,
so again, this character I think is amazing. It's just the story doesn't, and we talk about this sometimes with some of the longer movies that we watch, is that sometimes there's stuff that feels like it could be cut out, or sometimes it feels like it's so rushed that you don't understand what's going on.
sure.
I just reviewed with Ron Something Wicked This Way Comes, and it was so just disjointed and just like I feel like they skipped half the book, maybe, I don't know.
Oh,
In this particular case, I feel like the timing is well done. I don't think there are any slow
hmm,
points in it. I read somewhere that somebody said that it wasn't really a musical because it has musical numbers in it, but it's not music all the way through. I feel like it feels like a musical.
hmm.
What do you
It
think?
does feel like a musical. Yeah, I mean because the music tells more of the story. It's setting up the plot line for you. She's when will my life begin? I'm sitting in this tower. I'm waiting. You don't really understand otherwise. Why can't she go outside? Well, because her mother says that it's too scary because mother knows best. You need to stay here. You see the manipulation. Yeah, I think it's a musical. I would classify it as that.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know.
Uh, No, 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 no. I agree. I agree. I mean, there's a difference in what's a showstopper, where the entire thing stops so you can do a number, and there's the
Right.
ones that forward the story along. And I think you're right. I think this
Mhm.
one's for it moves the story along. And if you took out the songs in a showstopper like Mulan, you can
Yes.
still have a movie.
You get self-story, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm,
Be a Man, you could do the movie without that one. But like something
mhm.
like this one, like, I feel like you're missing out on some stuff. One of the things, as revisiting this movie, let's pan into the music now. One of the things was that Alan Menken did the music for this movie, and I was talking to
Love it.
my daughter's friend earlier today, and she was saying how like it stands to reason that that would happen because he was kind of the music guy for the time.
Yep.
Howard Ashman and Alan Menken were such a great duo, and then as The Lion King came along, Alan Menken, partnered with Tim Rice, and and then in this one, I forget who he partnered with in this one. Do you remember off the top of your head? It was Glenn Slater. So
Oh,
so
okay.
as this is happening, he's still the man, and I saw him perform in a small setting recently, Alan Menken, for the 30th
Oh,
anniversary of Broadway, Disney on Broadway, and he was amazing. And he was doing
wow.
stuff from Newsies and stuff from Beauty and the Beast and Hercules, and all that music was just amazing. Um,
Mhm,
I feel like it went Sherman Brothers do all the music, Alan
mhm,
Menken does all the music, and now
mhm.
it's the Anderson Lopez's are doing the music. So, and
Yeah.
then in between, Phil Collins threw us a bone here and there and did some music.
Mhm.
But his music is so amazing. He did every song except for the last one that closes it out. There was a band named Grace Potter and the Nocturnals who wrote and performed that song that is during the outro of
Credits.
the movie.
Yep.
The I see the well, no Something That I Want is
Something
the
that I
name of it.
want. Mhm.
Yeah. So anyway, the songs is what's your favorite song?
Oh, it's At Last I See the Light. Of course it is, because that is like the ultimate. It's romantic, but it's also very sweet, and it's, his realization of her and how she is making him a better person, and that it, it's just one of the all-time favorites. I cannot watch it on, anything really without shedding a tear, to be honest.
Nobody's asking you to, Stephanie. Feel your feelings. Um, no, I think, and I've mentioned this before, and I don't know I've mentioned it in a minute. So let's talk
Okay.
about this. I think that the Disney movies that matter the most to us are the ones that have songs in them that we relate to, and so we come back to them
Mm.
more often. Especially some of the modern stuff like Encanto. My wife just that's her like her comfort food is
Aw.
turn on Encanto and just basically just let it run and listen to the music as it's going through.
Mm.
You know, The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast. These are the ones we love. If you think back to movies that happened that didn't have music, Atlantis, Treasure Planet had a song from Johnny Resnick, but to your point, that wasn't like a forward the scene along kind of a thing. Um,
Mhm.
the like we love Tarzan because that Tarzan
Do love Tarzan.
soundtrack. If you'll forgive me, Tarzan rocks.
Yes, he does.
You're welcome. Even Brother Bear because of that soundtrack, which isn't quite as
Yeah.
good, but like, the movies that didn't really kind of catch feel like it's the stuff that Strange World.
Yes, exactly.
What? Like, Raya,
Mhm. Yeah.
and even the live action Mulan, which had some other reasons like COVID and some political undertones that happened, had none of the music from the movie, the animated movie,
Mhm.
and so I feel like it really gets lost in the live action catalog as well. So I
Yeah.
feel like that when you have some songs you can relate to in a Disney movie, you are more likely to um, be endeared to it. A lot of people love from Pixar Turning Red. Four Town has to have a
Yeah.
lot to do with that, I think.
Right. No, exactly. And I also feel like, though, his movie, I mean, any composer that you hear, like, I always go back to John Williams, he's amazing. But
Right.
his stuff has a fingerprint, is how I would put it. It's not carbon copies. He doesn't use the same the same score even, but it's very similar. It's You can tell it's the same person that composed it. So I feel like the same thing with him. There are a couple of times. What was it? At Last to See the Light. I feel like I don't know if it was like Beauty and the Beast, or it was something that I was like thinking, oh, this is very similar to something else. It just fits really well with the rest of the catalog for the other movies too.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Uh, so one of the other things that I like about the way this one is written, moving away from the
Mhm.
music now back to kind of like the pacing and the writing,
Mhm.
is that they did something with this hair. Now the classic fable is just she has long hair, she lets it down,
Yes.
the prince climbs up her hair. In this one, there's a reason that her hair is long, and it's because if she
Mhm.
cuts it, the magic goes away. And I thought that's really smart. Like I didn't even
Mhm.
think about that originally, and they're very clear in that. And Patrick always gets mad at me for like wanting there to be rules, but they're very clear in that. The reason that she doesn't cut her hair and she lets it go so long is that if she cuts it, it loses its magic. And it's weird the way that it happens, like that you can cut a clip of it and then like it dies from that point to the root. Like that doesn't make any sense to me,
Right.
but but
Backwards.
yeah, but that's apparently the way that it goes. And so I think that that's so smart that her hair has a length for a reason.
Mhm.
Maybe they don't talk
Exactly.
about that
Yeah.
enough. I don't know, but it was very evident to me in this rewatching that that was a thing.
Yes. And in the original, I don't think they really give you an idea of why. Go back to the Brothers Grimm. That was the original story, and it was the wife and her husband, and they were living next to the sorceress, call her the witch, and her name was Gothel, actually, Dame Gothel. But she had a garden, and then the garden was I'm going to say it wrong, the Rampion plant that it's kind of like a spinach leaf with a turnip kind of root. And the wife who was pregnant could not eat anything else. She didn't want to eat anything else. She just wished and wanted after this one plant. So she was actually, sick in that. She was like dying because she wasn't getting the right nutrients and things for her baby. And back then, that was something that you don't do, is you don't the people, folklore back then was very much you give the pregnant woman what she needs, that kind of thing. And so that's what he does, is he climbs over the wall and he gets the plant and steals it. And then the next time he goes to get some more, because that's all she wants to eat, the witch finds her and demands that their firstborn that she's pregnant with will be hers. And she doesn't lock Rapunzel up until she's 12, though, which I found interesting as I was reading back through the original story. So she keeps her out, I guess, in the world until she's 12. And then, yes, her hair is long, but it isn't long for a reason, like you say. It's long so
Yeah.
that she just leaves her in the tower and she calls for her to let down her hair.
Well, and again, they beautifully explain why she stays in the tower, and at the same time show the pure genius evil of Mother Gothel, and the fact that she scares
Exactly.
her to thinking the second you walk out, you're dead. Like, there are evil people past what you can see here. If you stay up here, you will live, and because she's not 12, but because she's an infant growing up in this castle, or in this tower,
That's all she knows.
that's all she knows, and so she doesn't know past what her mother tells her. That's like, she's convinced now if she steps outside that window, she's going to be gone. So
Mm-hmm.
she wants to stay safe and inside and do her painting and all those things. So again, that's well crafted, but that again speaks to the
Yes.
very evil genius that is Mother Gothel. And again, she's
Exactly.
evil, but she's not like a powerful evil necessarily. Like, she's not,
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of these cases, they're a witch, or they have some, like
Yes.
Maleficent has powers, and the evil queen has
Mm-hmm.
powers, and Jafar has powers. But in this one, she doesn't really have any power outside of what Rapunzel gives her, which is youth. But she's so
Mm-hmm.
incredibly smart and wicked in her
Yep.
genius that she can manipulate the situation with Flynn Rider, where she
Mm-hmm.
sees that Rapunzel is forming a bond with him, and she knows that she can't just pull her away. She has to make her,
Mm-hmm.
like, drive a wedge between them, and she does it so brilliantly. And it's just like,
She does.
that's her power, is the evil genius. She's not strong. She's
Mm-hmm.
not,
Mm-hmm.
she's not magical. She's just wicked.
Yes. Psychologically twisted.
Yes, exactly. So anyway, Flynn Rider, his character as she's grown up in this tower, and again, I don't know that I need to tell people the story of Rapunzel, but but or even Tangled, but just to move it along is to say that she's in the tower. Flynn Rider is running from the law, which is this horse Maximus, which is a great dynamic, the buddy
So
comedy,
good.
like, between the two of them,
Yes.
and then also these guys who he has just, like, turned on, and he
Mm-hmm.
finds himself looking for shelter from them and climbs up into this tower. And she, thinking that evil has now come in, smacks him in the head with a pan. By the way, I have this pan right here
No.
from
So
Fantasy
good.
Springs. Um, Smacks him in the head with a pan, and that becomes a thing. And again, that's something brilliant that they wrote into this. Like, it's a
Mm-hmm.
very unusual weapon for her to have, and then they, like, play along as they go along. Where Flynn Rider's like, "Man, I got to get me one of
Who
these.
knew,
This is
right?
great."
Yeah.
Yes, who knew? So they meet, and she says, "Look, when I knocked you out, I took your treasure, and you're nothing without your
Mm-hmm.
treasure. So if you do what I want and take me, because I need a guide to protect me, because the outside world is
Mm-hmm.
pure evil. Mom said so. If you, which, again, I see why you may shy your children away from this. Mom said that I shouldn't play in the street, but what does she know?"
What does she know?
So she convinces him, or, like, basically bribes him into taking her on this adventure, and then he tries to turn it around by driving her to the Snuggly Duckling, which
Mm-hmm.
is great. And the fact that that exists in real life in Japan is
Ah,
amazing.
yes.
And then when from there she's trying to get to to see the lanterns. That's like her whole thing is she's for some reason drawn to these lanterns, which is really supposed to be a celebration for her, the lost princess, but she doesn't know she is.
Okay, but she knows when her real birthday is. That is the biggest plot hole of this whole thing, I feel like why would you steal a baby and yet tell her exactly the real birthday? The only thing I can think is maybe she was working in the palace or something like this, but still it was an infant. She doesn't know when her real birthday is. You could have told her it was 6 months after or 2 years before, whenever. You didn't have to tell her the exact day. So I don't understand why they left that in, except to be like, oh, she needs a journey. She needs to have an idea of, this is how she could be related to this princess.
Yeah. All right. So let me ask you about this. This has got to be, I feel like, one of the funniest moments after they first meet, and he's trying to manipulate her, and he's like, "All right, I didn't want to have to do this, but."
The
The
smolder.
smolder.
And she's unflappable. She is like, what? You have
Yeah.
something in your eye,
Yep.
Well, she's never met a guy before. How would she know?
Yeah, I guess so. But again, let's talk about the animation. Like in a scene like this, with him climbing down, and like the background going one way, and the mountain, and him climbing down, and the shadows. It's just so well done from an animation standpoint that I'm just really still impressed with how this one holds up. You go back and watch something like from
Yes.
Pixar early on, like Incredibles or Toy Story, especially Toy Story, but like Incredibles, and you're like, the animation is a little. And there's some other stuff that we watched. Charlie and I watched Ice Age, which wasn't Disney, but
Oh,
now it is.
right.
And like the animation on that was, I
It's
feel
bad.
like just pretty bad. But
Mhm.
this one, for 2010, still holds up really well.
Yes,
Just everything about it is kind of awesome. Um,
absolutely.
all right, so let me say I see everybody talking in the chat. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it. If you haven't already, give us a thumbs up as it helps people find us. And as we were going through, this is Stephanie's favorite part. She was like, "Please, Rob, don't forget the trivia tonight." And I won't. I've got trivia for you. I know that Rosita was in here. I don't know if Rosita's still out there, but I know this is one of her favorite parts too. But by the way, just I love that I've fallen on this scene where she like something we tell our kids to do all the time: touch grass.
Touch
Just go,
grass.
just go touch grass. Exactly. She's like, "Ooh, this is nice. I like this." All right. So, you chose this movie. I want to
I
like get
did.
the record straight on that one that you chose to review this movie. So I feel like you must be like, attached to it. So these should be no-brainers for you. And are you
You
ready?
always say that. Let's
I'm gonna
go.
start. I'm gonna start out easy. I'm gonna start out super easy. This is so easy,
Let's
and
go.
I'm not teeing you up for failure here. I think this is super easy. What color are Rapunzel's eyes?
Green, same as mine.
There you go. All right. See, I told you it was super easy. Um, how many times has she beaten Pascal in hide and seek when they meet up?
20.
Close.
Oh,
22.
oh gosh.
It was very close. It was very close.
Come
22, and then she
on.
asks if he wants to. If he wants, she wants to. He wants to
Out of
do 23,
45. I did
23
remember
out of
that.
45. Yeah. Yep. There you go. Okay. When she is locked in her tower, bored out of her mind, amongst all the things she does is she puts together a puzzle. What's on that puzzle?
It is it's a bird. I want to say it's a peacock. It's like a blue bird.
Say no more. Bluebird. That's exactly what it is. It's a
Oh,
bluebird. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. It's not a peacock. You were getting too fancy
I was
up in there.
thinking,
That was
okay.
not. That was
It
too
was blue
much.
feathers.
That was too much. Fire Chief's giving you some scores, 2 for 3. So you're doing good.
Oh,
You're doing good. Um. Okay, you ready? I'm trying to. I don't know that you'll know this one.
no, I probably won't.
You know what? We'll do that as a bonus one. That one's fine. When
Okay.
she gets to the village, and Flynn is promised to take her to the Lantern Festival. They go to Corona. They're in the village, but her hair is dragging. So he has these little girls braid her hair. How many little girls does it take to braid her hair?
I think they're definitely redheaded. I think they're four little redheaded girls.
That is correct. It is four.
Yay!
Yeah. I got to tell you, that scene is one of my favorites because it's like
It's so good.
he's first of all, like the fact that it would occur to him, I've got a solution for this. And then he looks over at those little girls who are braiding each other's hair, and he goes, "Hey," and they go, "Oh!" Like this is the mother lode. Like this is the best thing that I have ever heard of in my entire life. You're
Of
doing really
course.
well. Yeah, you're
I've
doing
got
really
four
well.
daughters. It's totally
Three.
true.
Don't call me daughter. Okay. All right. So, what is the opening line of the movie?
Oh, it's like this is a story of how I died or something.
Verbatim. You just nailed it.
Really?
Verbatim. Yes, verbatim. It is Flynn Rider when it comes open, and he said, "This is a story of how I died." There you go.
And
4
no
out of 5.
book. You don't have the book.
Now, if you watch the extras,
Oh,
there was an opening with a storybook.
what?
Yeah.
Why didn't they do it?
I don't know. You have to ask the directors. But yeah, there was originally the concept of opening with a storybook, as many Disney movies do. So I was going to ask you Eugene's last name.
Fitzherbert.
There. But that doesn't count. You had your 5. And the one
Gosh.
that I was going to ask you that I know, that I feel like you wouldn't know, because you said you didn't see this in the theater, so it would have been unfair to ask you this
Okay.
question. But do you know what short
Oh, shorts came
opened?
before it.
Yeah, because this was when they were doing shorts before it.
Gosh, I used to love those too. Um, I would have no clue.
It was called Day and Night.
I remember that one.
Yeah,
But no, I did not see it in the theater.
I know. So again, would have been unfair to ask you. So thank you guys in the chat for playing along. Thanks for helping keep track for Stephanie, because she wanted to know that she slayed at this one in particular.
Oh,
So yes, for sure. Thanks for doing that. Um, the moment when she's fallen in love with Flynn, he's fallen in love with her, and it's the end of the second act, so you know something has to go horribly wrong. And in this
sure.
particular case, there really hasn't been a lie. Usually that's what happens, is like at the end of the second act, somebody realizes that there was a lie that they were told, and and the person didn't get to come clean, and someone else outs them, and then it's like I've lost all faith in you, and then they use the third act to get that back. So that was not really the case here, because we do she does have a broken heart, but not because
Hmm.
he lied to her, but because Mother Gothel convinces her that he lied.
Yep.
And he never really has to
Manipulated.
own that. She realizes it on her own. He never really knows that she was lied to. He just, she Mother Gothel partners with the what is it, the Stabber brothers,
Stabbington brothers.
the Stabbington brothers, partners with them to like take them down, and then, and then she turns on them, which is great.
They were double crossed twice by her and by Flynn.
Yeah,
They were not the
exactly.
smartest.
No, they were not. But the way that they frame like his getaway, where they don't just go, oh, he's gone. They like make her think that he left without her, is
Hmm.
just like tragic. She thinks that he's coming back, but then they're like, oh, hey, there he is out there in the boat, and he looks like he's driving the boat, and has
That
left
has
her.
Mother Gothel written all over it.
Yep.
That is her manipulation.
But then she comes in, and because she was raised in fear, she knows that
Hmm.
Rapunzel will need protecting from these big beasts, and so she comes in and saves her, and they go back to the palace. I mean, not the palace, the tower. And then she realizes as she's in there that all these suns. That was a weird thing too, right? Like this is how she gets her memory
Yes.
back. Is she realizes that she's
Mhm.
been subconsciously making these suns in all of this artwork. That's how she
Mhm.
realizes it. I don't know.
I've
That
had to
seems a little
rewind
bit
that and
weird.
look at that again. Yes, because when you're looking at the negative, you're not looking at the positive of the picture because she's drawing all these things and it's around that you see the outline of the sun. So right, it was a little hard to believe, but I guess it's one of those things like the magic eye you say that you can't see. Like,
What do you mean?
but once you
You think I'm lying to you that I can't see those?
no, no, I'm saying if you once you see it, that's what you see. Every time you look at it, you see that coming out at you. Right. So there it is, everywhere she's looking, and then all of a sudden it clicks. Oh my gosh, this is I've been drawing these for years, and this is something that I was drawing prior to me going to Corona and getting this flag. So therefore, it must be me. It's on my birthday. So
I love that
I've
that
got
bothers
green
you.
eyes and blonde hair.
I love that bothers you. That thing. Yeah. And then the guys from the Snuggly Duckling come. They free Flynn Rider. Maximus takes him to see her, and then he gets stabbed.
Can
And
I
go
Can
ahead.
I interject this one really quickly about the guys from the Snuggly Duckling? It is so much like I would say the Princess Bride or like Monty Python or something. That whole scenario of how they count to one, two, three, and they're snatching guys from behind them. They're so like shocked, they're speechless, and then all of a sudden Flynn's just there. He's waving, "Hi, put your knees down, legs apart." What?
And he's like,
So
legs apart. Why legs
it's
apart?
exactly. It's a great comedic timing, and Maximus. I tell you, I love me some Samson again. I go back to the Sleeping Beauty, but I love Maximus as a character. I think he's one of the best sidekicks that has ever been written for, because he's not really a sidekick; he's his own character.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a buddy comedy at that point, and they kind of carry that over a little bit in similar to Sven and Kristoff, if you will.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, I mean, maybe they copied Flynn and Maximus. Maybe that was the thing. So, anyway, they free him. He goes into the tower. She faces Mother Gothel. Mother Gothel stabs Flynn. He cuts off her hair. And it's a wonderful Disney scene. Like that's the scene. Like
Oh,
whether it's the the beast and in his transformation, or it's just this great scene that's very Disney. It gives you the goosebumps, and it just really you get those feels, and it's just like like I don't know. Again, it feels very Beauty and the Beast, but I love you, and then da da na 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 na,
yes.
like the whole
The
transformation
music,
scene.
the swelling of the music, the light that emits from them. But if I can go back to the original story just really quickly, so the prince in the original story comes and hears Rapunzel singing in the tower, and he wants to go up and see her, but he sees that the Mother Gothel is coming along, Dame Gothel, and says, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair," and that's how he knows to get in and out without her being seeing him basically. And so they secretly marry while she's still in the tower, and he starts to bring her strips of this cloth so that she can slowly tie and make a ladder, so eventually she'll have enough strips of cloth to escape. And before that happens, though, she says to Dame Gothel, "My waist is getting larger. Why do you think that is?" And she realizes what has been happening, and she banishes Rapunzel, cuts off her hair, and banishes her to the wilderness. And the prince then comes and says, "Rapunzel, let down your hair." And the witch puts down Rapunzel's hair without Rapunzel being there. And when she says, "You will never see Rapunzel again," he jumps from the tower and lands into some thorns, somehow escapes, without being injured, except that he has blinded himself. And when years later he is wandering through the forest and he hears her singing, Rapunzel has actually given birth to their twins, boy and girl twins. And someone who's had boy girl twins, I don't recommend doing that in the wilderness by yourself. But she cries,
I mean, you do what
and
you gotta do.
her tears restore his sight. So at least they took that with her crying over him as he gives of himself in this movie. He says, you know, you would die. You know, you can't do that. And so he sacrifices his own life for her because that's really what he's doing. Cuts off her hair and she cries over him and her tears restore him.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, it is a great moment like that. But didn't that scene that you're talking about happen in Into the Woods?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. I mean,
Yeah,
so they were being a little more true to the story then. I
they
mean,
were.
obviously, a lot
Mm-hmm.
of these things, a lot of the Disney versions of these things that we love are just so much less heartbreaking than the original. Like, I feel like in the original Little Mermaid, she like turns into sea foam and disappears
She
forever or
does.
something like that. And
She
so, yeah,
dies.
I
Mm-hmm.
much prefer the way that they wrap these up in a way that everybody lives happily ever after, because that's really what a good Disney movie does, right? Like,
Exactly.
he lives. They go back and meet her parents. The mom and dad are thrilled and bring him and welcome him into the family, and it's just happily ever after for them. But again,
And you
the
talked about the oh sorry.
no, go ahead.
You talked about the fact that it's triggering, right, for parents to have, you know, Mother Gothel come in and snatch this baby out from under, literally out from under their noses because she was in the same room in the cradle. And the only the thing about the parents and the fact that Rapunzel has parents throughout this film that she doesn't even know for 18 years. They don't say a word, but their emotions are so powerful. The way that they drew these family, uh, the king at one point, you know, they're lighting the lantern to let it go, and he has a single tear that comes out, and she just puts her hand on his cheek and wipes away the tear. And then when the guard comes in to say at the very end, we found her, and he nods in disbelief. I can't think of anything but Anastasia. You remember that film because everybody kept saying I'm Anastasia, and then they would always say find something wrong with the girl. And this time this is what I'm thinking, like so many girls have probably come forward and said I'm the lost princess, but this time this is her. And the weight of that, because they pause before they open the door and they're like, what if this isn't her, you know? And then as soon as the mother sees her, exactly, she sees her face, she sees her child that she hasn't seen in 18 years. And just as a mother myself, I cannot watch this film without crying. I'm going to start crying now. Because that's how you would feel, Rob. You know that's how you would feel. And the
Of course.
quiet strength of the father, you know, protecting the two of
And then falling to their
his
knees.
daughters.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yes.
And it is a wonderful, happy ending. And even again for his redemption arc, they bring,
Mm-hmm.
Flynn into the whole thing because they're like, you know what, you brought her back to us, and
Oh,
it's
100%.
yeah, it's amazing. So I love this. I love this. All of the pieces of this one. So I don't think it's gonna be too much of a surprise when we give final thoughts on it. But before we move on to that, let's talk about the theme park stuff, because again, there's a
Yeah.
lot of stuff to the American theme parks that I was thinking of. One of them is the Fairy Tale Gardens at Disney World at Magic Kingdom. Is that
Mm-hmm.
area over by the Cheshire Cafe, across from Sunny Eclipse, down from the Cinderella Castle, where they do meet and greets. And I think at one point maybe they would have done a show or a story or whatever, but they
Right.
do meet and greets there now. And they did one for Rapunzel. That was where you would meet Rapunzel. And I remember a guy who didn't get Disney calling me to complain as if I'm Disney like customer service, because he said he waited 2 hours in line to meet a college student dressed as Rapunzel for 20 seconds.
No. Oh no.
Yeah,
Sorry,
he was
dude.
he was mad. But you know what? When your kid wants to meet Rapunzel, you meet Rapunzel. That's what you do. So at the
Absolutely.
Fairy Tale Garden, she had a meet and greet there. Then I think it became, at some point it was Merida, and then
Hmm.
now it's the Madrigals. It's
Yep.
Mirabelle, and I think
Bruno.
maybe Bruno is there. I don't remember,
Yes.
but yeah. So that's the Family Madrigal meets there now at that little Fairy Tale Garden area. So this was in there at one point. By the way,
Hmm.
how could you not love this last scene here? This has got to like get. This is the made you look scene at the end of
I
Aladdin
love it.
sort of a situation.
Hmm.
Um, but anyway, so that was the meet and greet they had. Now she, I think, meets at Princess Fairy Tale Hall on occasion, if
She
not all the
does.
time, right?
Hmm.
Do your girls love to go meet? I don't. Does your kids? Let's just say it that way. Love to go meet Rapunzel.
My girls do love to go see her, and my littlest always wants to, dress up to look like her. But you can also see her if you pay, of course, to go to the Princess Breakfast and the CRT Cinderella Royal Table, and then also at Akershus over at Epcot. They used to have the Bon Voyage breakfast where you got to meet both Flynn and Rapunzel, and you used to watch their fun banter. But one of the best places I love to see Rapunzel is actually the Fantasy Festival of Fantasy Parade, because that float is amazing. And you've got Flynn and you got the other, crazy ruffians around, and they're swinging, Maximus swinging back and forth on this big pendulum thing. And, Rapunzel's up there with her frying pan, and it's really cute.
Here's the meet and greet that they had at the Fairy Tale Gardens. So
Oh, yeah.
uh, that was a thing. I also yeah, the parade is amazing. I mean, that's a great float for sure.
Hmm.
There was a bit that they had at Disneyland right when it came out for a meet and greet where you can kind of see it in the background here. They made part of like Pinocchio's village house look like a tower. They had the hair all over the place. They did
That's
something
great.
similar to this by covering the roof with snow and making it sort of for Frozen when that came out. Um, so yeah, of course you can do the meet and greets as well, the meals as you mentioned, the Tangled bathrooms.
I was
Such a
going to say, don't
joke.
forget it.
It was
The
such a
puzzle
joke in
poopers.
the community where everybody is like, "We love Tangled. What can you give us Tangled?" And it's like, "Well, we'll give you the Tangled bathrooms." I mean, and it
Thanks.
was an area that hadn't been used for a while. A lot of people at this point
Hmm.
probably don't know that that was the Skyway for
Yep.
Fantasyland station, and it was sat there forever after they closed the Skyway from Fantasyland over to Tomorrowland at Magic Kingdom. They left it there, and then they like decorated the front of it and made it stroller parking, and then and then they were like, okay, well, we're going to make this, we need some new restrooms here. They used to be over back behind Peter Pan. That became an interactive queue, and then they moved them out into the middle here, and then they had that little Pascal thing where you could like do the hide and seek of Pascal
You
and
can
find
find.
how many
Mhm.
Pascals were hiding there and get your picture taken as holding the lantern. Like there's always a
That is
huge
always
line.
a big line. Always, always a big line.
Yep.
Best to go at the very end of the night if you're going to do that.
Yep. And last Sunday night on the Park Adventurers Club, you and Shannon and I all talked about the best character breakfast, and we talked about this one that you just mentioned earlier, the Bon
Mhm.
Voyage breakfast that was at
So good.
Trattoria Al Forno, where you could meet Eric and Ariel, you could meet Flynn and Rapunzel there, and it was very
Mhm.
cool. And I had a great interaction with my daughter there once, where they and I mentioned it on the show. Also, I think that Disney Princess Adventures that happens at Grand Californian, don't they also uh,
Yes, Rapunzel's
have
there
her
too.
there?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
So yeah, that's cute. I mean, that's fine. But like I said, you can go and eat in the Snuggly Duckling and get your
Oh
very
man.
own plastic frying pan of cobbler there. So, for those of you who don't know, I went to Japan. You're welcome. Starting this Friday night at 8:30, which is normally a spot where we have programming. We're going to drop our first full um, video about Japan, and it'll be kind of how you decide to make your first trip to Japan. This is something that we had been wanting to do forever. We finally got a chance to do it. We went for 2 weeks and had an amazing time, not just at the Disney parks, but also in Tokyo proper, and it was a lot of fun. So, but for those of you who don't know, there are two theme parks in Tokyo that are Disneyland and Tokyo Disney Sea. Tokyo Disney Sea has a land called Fantasy Springs that is now and will forever be my favoriteest land. I think. I mean, it used to be Cars Land, hands down. Anybody ask, even though I love Star Wars, but two could not hold a candle to what Cars Land was out there in California. And so I would always say Cars Land was number one for me, and now it's Fantasy Springs is literally the best that I've ever seen. But they have four areas in Fantasy Springs. They have one for Tinkerbell, they have one for Peter Pan separately, and then they
Oh.
have one for Frozen, and they have one for um, for the Tangled folks. And one of the there's an attraction there called Rapunzel's Lantern Festival, and this
Oh,
scene inside is just so amazing. And you and I talked about this before about dark rides, that there's just not enough dark rides out there because, again, it's a great way for the entire family to experience these parks. But I mean,
yeah.
everything about this attraction was like top tier. You start outside, you come around the corner. There are some things outside, and then you come inside and you see this with her swinging around the
That's
tree.
great.
The animatronics are great. The music is great. The scenes are great. There's a Maximus outside who is freaking adorable.
Oh, love
Um,
it.
yeah, and what I love about this, and Stephanie and I were talking about this. Here's another view of Maximus that I took. What I love about this is that it retells the story as opposed to, I don't know, Tiana's Bayou Adventure, where now she's in food distribution, but also looking for a good Zydeco band to play her big party. No, don't give me that. Give me the Shadow Man yelling, "Are you ready?" as he's about to toss you over the falls. Like, give me that.
Thank
Like, retell this story. But even in the animatronics outside, like what? Like the
mm.
fact that Flynn is outside, that Maximus is outside. She's up in her tower singing. She's singing in Japanese, but she's still singing, and it's you don't have to understand what she's saying to know that it's very cool that you get to see her out there. So
But Rob, did they
yeah.
get his nose right? That's the
No,
question.
they didn't. They didn't get his nose right. It's horrible. They did so many cool things, and it's like, there's the scene where the little bunny jumps out and scares Flynn.
Oh,
Like, the
yes.
bunnies are there, and I mean, again, they got so many things right with this. But it's just a beautiful attraction, and the fact that you see some of it before you go inside is great. But it's almost part of a whole land where you've got you know the posters you're talking about, like with his nose, you can see one right there in the distance, on the side of this. And so it's set up with, you get to see this attraction, and then next to it is the Snuggly Duckling. So we got to eat at the Snuggly Duckling, which was fantastic. And so this is one that I actually rode twice.
Oh,
Paid
wow.
paid to ride it both times, but I hate doing
Worth
that
it?
here, but I will do it if I'm 13 hours away. And
Yes.
that's just the cue to it. So yeah, totally worth it. I hate the idea of paying for an attraction, but I mean, again, I wanted to,
Got to.
especially since my daughter, this was her favorite. My wife's
Oh.
favorite was the Neverland attraction, and I don't remember what my son's was, but I think that he and I both had the same one, which was Beauty and the Beast, which was actually over um, in Disneyland Park, as opposed to this one was all in Disney California. I mean, Disney California, Disney Tokyo Sea. California Adventure, what? I've
The
been
other land.
brainwashed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was really well done. They have the Snuggly Duckling there. They have the Rapunzel's Lantern Festival. Sorry, I'm scrolling for looking for the Snuggly Duckling at the same time. So here's what the Snuggly Duckling looks like inside.
Oh,
So you can
so
see like the
good.
paintings as if like she's
Hmm.
painted them on the walls there.
Hmm.
Um,
Along with the skull. Oh, that's great.
yeah, so there's the Snuggly Duckling, but it was just really, the whole experience was great to do. And also I love the trays there. I took a picture of the tray. There it is.
That's
Um,
great.
so they also let you, like, so this was just a dessert, and I was like, and it should be thrown away, but I mean, it was too good to be thrown away, so I cleaned it out. But they also let you order like little extra things if you wanted them, for like a little dish if you wanted one. Of course, I wanted that dish up.
Mm.
Trying to think. So like this, you can see, and it's
Oh,
got the
hey,
Lantern
that's
Festival on it.
pretty though.
Yep, and it
Yeah.
says Rapunzel's Lantern Festival, Tokyo Disney Sea. It's got that scene on it. Yeah, and
Oh,
that was one of those things
neat.
that it's like you just add to cart, easy enough to
Yeah,
do. So
exactly.
there was a time when they talked about Disneyland Forward, and Disneyland Forward was
Mhm.
supposed to include possible things. One of them was that they would include something for Tangled. I feel like they're that at Disney in France they're doing something Tangled, but I feel like it's it's like
It's like a spinner.
yeah, it's like a spinner. It's not
Mm-hmm.
not the dark ride. I feel like this dark ride should be everywhere because it was so well done. It's very
Yes.
short, and I think you asked that question too. It's very short.
Mm-hmm.
Probably shorter than Navi River Journey, but they
Oh
they
gosh.
they pump them through, and it's very much worth it. But as per your question, these posters are everywhere.
That's great. Well, and I also feel like the scene that you see them in that boat right there, they're kind of leaning forward towards each other. It reminds me of the Ariel's undersea journey, with the scene from Kiss the Girl, how they kind of lean into each other. Maybe they reused the animatronic and just put new skins on.
I don't know. I don't know, but I just know that it was a really well done attraction. It was a really cool area with the Snuggly Duckling. I love that they gave it this much because, again, in the domestic parks, it doesn't really get, I feel like, enough other
No.
than the Tangled bathrooms. The couple meet and greets here and there, maybe, but you don't really get to see any. And even like the Trattoria Al Forno Bon Voyage breakfast, they don't do the characters anymore. So
Yes.
yeah.
Come on.
Okay. So before we get to the final thoughts from you on this, did we cover everything? I feel like we covered everything, right?
Pretty much, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to say thank you to everybody in the chat for hanging out with us tonight. Rosita, Ronald, Benjamin, TSN 6899. Care Bear, who Jay Ware is in there. If I forgot you or if I didn't catch you, I'm sorry. I'll catch you on the next time. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. We love the pack, our Park Adventurers Club members. Thank you guys so much for being members of the pack. It's a pack attack. It's Pack Nation is in the house. So if you'd like to get more information about our club, you can go to patreon.com/go pack. And a special thank you to all of our Zebra Mezzanine and Treasure Room supporters. You know who you are, but there's the list. And thank you for your support. For the Park Adventurers Club, everything that you guys have done, we've put back into what we do here. So thank you guys for being here, for hanging out with us, just giving us a subscription or hanging out with us for a show or talking in the chat. All of that. Thank you guys so much for being here. And Stephanie, thank you for all of your contributions as well, including your show, which is Castaways, which is where the cast members make the magic. Did you want to tell people about what that is?
Yeah, we have interviews from numerous different, Rob included, former cast members and team members, and we're gonna have another episode coming up with Ron Part Deux, and it's gonna be great because we're gonna talk about some stories that he didn't get to on the first one, and kind of dive deeper into some of his experiences. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, and I was on the first. I was happy to be on the first one with you, and then most recently you had a cast member who was a friend of Snow White, the fairest cast
Fairest one
member
of
of them
all.
all, Amy. So again, check those out at parkadventuresclub.com. And again, more on the way. Talked to Shannon today. She's got another Happiest Days coming. So, and again, as I mentioned, this Friday we'll drop our first Tokyo video on Friday night in the spot where a lot of times we do lives and premieres on Friday nights. We're going to premiere the first Tokyo video, and then after that, it'll always be Tokyo Thursday. makes little to no sense, but it'll always be Tokyo Thursday. Every Thursday we're going to drop a different video from Tokyo, and so hopefully you guys will join us there. Don't forget to join us Sunday nights for the Park Adventurers Club. That is our park show. Go back and check out last week's show with me and Stephanie and Shannon, where we talked about the best in character dining at Walt Disney World and Disneyland. And then the week before that, we talked about how do you do Disney, and that was me and Rob Bazemore and Patrick Hackett. So again, if you missed the shows we used to do on Sunday night, guess what? We still do them. It's every Sunday night at 8:30 p.m. A lot of people go, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know you guys were still doing." Yep, 8:30 on Sunday nights. So. Stephanie, now is the time. Now is the best time because I'm going to ask you, if somebody pulls up Disney Plus and they're looking through all of the content that's on there and they're like, hey, I saw this Tangled movie on there. I've never seen it. Do you think I'd like it? Is this something I should share with my kids? Is it something I should watch? The question is, Stephanie, would you recommend this movie?
100%. It is a great film. Adults and kids alike will love this. Like I said, some of the banter between Flynn and Rapunzel or Flynn and Maximus, you'll catch as an adult, you might not catch as a kid, but it's very well done. The story flows beautifully. You are not held captive. You're not, saying, "Oh, this is taking too long." Everything plays, and it's a cause and effect. This happened, so then this happened, and this happened because this happened, and it really does make a lot of sense. And fun fact, that it kind of goes back, if we go to the original story again, it was the sun goddess that got trapped in the tower, and so therefore, Disney, in their brilliance of this film, they got the sun drop flower, right? And they talked about, again, plays into the Corona name for the kingdom, but that is why she, again, going back to the original, that is why she is part flower, because she was, in her mother's womb when her mother drank the sun drop flower and got the power. So I thought that that was very well done, even if you don't know the original history behind it.
Well, at last I see the light.
Exactly.
I would say the same. I would absolutely recommend this. This is probably for me top five. Honestly, it's top five. I could rewatch this one over and over again. I love that it has a little bit of adventure, a little bit of romance. It definitely has those Disney moments in it. So again, I would highly recommend this one. We didn't talk about something that I showed here, Stephanie, is that there is actual like content after the content, and the fact that they did a sing-along version, which we should have reviewed that so you could have sung along. There
Oh,
was
no.
a Tangled Before Ever After series, which made very
Seen
to
that.
little to no sense. Um,
Right.
and then there was also
It's between the wedding, but after this film.
Yep, and then there was a short film that takes place after this one that they released, but they never made a two. They never made a Tangled two. Would you want a Tangled two?
I would. I think it'd be super fun.
Okay, then the next thing is the live action we talked about briefly,
Yes.
but the rumor is that we're going to see Scarlett Johansson as Mother Gothel. Now, the funny, weird thing about that, and I don't know if this is what they were talking about in chat earlier. And by the way, Alicia says she loves the braid. Um,
Thank you.
yeah, but the live action one, when we were at Destination D23, my wife and I this past fall, it's still fall, I don't know what I'm talking about, but recently we were there, and Susan Egan, who I love. Susan Egan, she was originally Megara in
Yeah.
Hercules. She was the original Belle on Broadway. She was like, I'm petitioning to be Mother Gothel, and she sang Mother Knows Best and slate killed. It was awesome. It was the best, and she just like
Wow.
worked it. She was like, and so if you look at her, she could have killed. She could kill in that one. So, and then I heard like Catherine, what's her name from Agatha All Along. Catherine Hahn
Han.
was like
Hmm.
talked about, but apparently Scarlett Johansson is going to be Mother Gothel.
Is she a singer? I don't really know her to be a
I
singer.
don't know. I don't know, but Father knows best. I don't know. So, but anyway, so there's going to be a live action that they were going to kill it after Snow
Hmm.
White, and they're like, no more. And then they were like, oh, the Stitch thing that did pretty well. Maybe we should
Maybe.
revisit the live action. So that's apparently still in production, still got a green light to go ahead. And then the last thing is a stage musical. This should be. I feel like they've been workshopping stage musicals, but this should have been a stage musical right out of the gate.
Yes. Well, they have the musical on the cruise ships. So they
Mm.
already have, the bones for that. So as far as it being, on Broadway production, I feel like it would be easily done.
And when the bones are good, okay.
The
Not a
structure,
lot of
yeah.
not a lot of country fans. Anyway, awesome. So Again, this is great. Been great to talk about, Stephanie. Thank you for choosing this one for us to talk about. Please leave your comments in below and tell us what you thought of Tangled. Any memories you have of either stuff in the parks or what this character means to you or your kids. We want to hear all about that. And again, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to give a like, and don't forget to come back and see us Friday for that new Tokyo premiere, or Sunday night at 8:30 for the Park Adventurers Club, or you can come back next Wednesday night at 9 p.m. for another look on the plus side. I'm scrambling to remember what we're doing that next time. I feel like we've got the whole slate for the rest of the year lined up. So the next one we're doing is an extremely goofy movie with
Oh.
Tyler Mann, who used
Yay!
to do reviews with us, Tyler Mann. And Tyler has agreed to come on, as he and I had done a Goofy movie with some other people. He's agreed to come on and do an extremely goofy movie next Wednesday night. I have to remind him that he's coming, but yeah. So Tyler Mann is coming back for that, and then we get into Christmas with Stephanie's coming back to do Mickey and the very many Christmases, which I've not seen and I cannot wait to see. So.
Fun.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for being with us. Have a great rest of your week. Hope to see you for all the rest of the content. And if not, we'll see you next time for a look on the plus side.